tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose, and you go home. So we call all underdogs dreamers and believers. And we ask you again one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
From the Smoky Mountains down to the upstate, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup makes a stop into Paladin Stadium for round 2 in this all League One affair. Greenville triumphed and won Knoxville once again face in a knockout match. It's becoming a bit of a pattern with these two, but who will further their campaign beyond tonight? Let's find out together. Welcome one and all to the broadcast. My name is Mark Schoenster. I'm joined by Ross Davenport. Comparatively lacking history here between Greenville and one Knoxville in comparison to the history of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Both sides still looking for their first real patented run in this competition. Let's take a look at some players who may help them get there. For Greenville, it's Rapapa Mensah.
The 27-year-old from Ghana came in this offseason from the Chattanooga Rebels. No goals in 5 U.S. Open Cup appearances. 4 of those starts. He's lost twice to Knoxville in this cup with Chattanooga, so looking for revenge tonight. Came off the bench, looked effective in Sunday's loss to Spokane.
Meanwhile, a known commodity on the other side of things, Kempis Tequila, back for a second year and in the starting lineup tonight.
Yep, the 27-year-old left-footed German. He's never beaten Greenville in 3 attempts, but has 3 goals in those games against the Tribe, including 2 in the extra time cup loss last season. Pace, technical ability could cause a retooled Greenville backline some trouble tonight.
So those are 2 players that we are highlighted to look out for, but here are all 22 that will be starting this game.
Yeah, 6 changes for Rick Wright and Greenville after that 4-0 loss to Spokane. Making their first starts, Mensah, as we mentioned, Siobhan Marsh, Anthony Paddy, and Ivan Jakwa. As for Knoxville, 2 changes from their 2-0 win over Texoma way back on March 22nd. Out go Kelly Rosales. He's got a minor injury. Calixto, Income Johnson, and Zara Costas.
So those are your starting 22, your starting 11s for these 2 sides. Starting as our center official, Islin Pexanar will be looking to keep the peace today between these 2 sides. I mentioned a bit of a pattern growing with these 2 clubs. Last season, just in 2024, these 2 teams met in the U.S. Open Cup, the 109th edition. That game went to extra time, a Chapa Herrera goal, winning it on the road for the Greenville Triumph. And then they would meet at the other end of the year in the USL League One playoffs in this same building, a game in which the Greenville Triumph also won and would advance on to the semifinals in the USL League One postseason. So a bit of a pattern starting to generate here. These 2 sides are garnering enough success in every competition they play in that it's earning them the ability to play each other in more important games every single season.
It will be interesting tonight because both of these teams attacking this game in very different fashion. For Greenville, it's the second of 4 games in the space of 12 days. You mentioned, Mark, Knoxville haven't played since March 22nd. So they should be fully rested, putting out almost a full strength, pretty much a full strength lineup tonight just with those 2 changes. Meanwhile, Greenville being forced to make a number of changes. They've got a game coming up this week, and then we'll face Knoxville in the league back here again next Wednesday.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah, busy time before the Triumph. As a result, Rick Wright. Now, he's looking to get some players that he hasn't seen start yet. We mentioned Rapapa Mensah and Siobhan Marsh, the 2 big additions from the Red Wolves this offseason. They both get their first start tonight. Mensah up top, Marsh on the right side, we would expect. And then the left side of the Greenville backline will certainly get tested. Ivan Jakwa, rookie out of Furman, as well as Anthony Paddy, first-year man for Greenville, coming in from Lexington. And their first starts on that left side, so we'll see if Knoxville attack that side early.
A lot of rotation for the Greenville 11. Meanwhile, for Knoxville, this is an opportunity. You mentioned it already. Pretty much a best 11 for them. And this is an opportunity for a little bit of payback here, given the fact that they were bested in those 2 knockout games last season against the same Greenville Triumph side. There's a lot of returning faces for both of these sides from last year. Sometimes one year into another in the lower levels of U.S. soccer, you could see a lot of roster turnover, but for both of these clubs, there's a lot of carryover for Knoxville, even though they've had a coaching change. And for Greenville, they still have that core that have come in and year out, and a couple of other returners from last year's team. So these are all faces that, for the most part, are awfully familiar with each other, which is just the way to brew up a competitive rivalry.
See some heavy strapping on the right knee of Kempis Tequila. See if that plays a factor tonight.
And we are underway. Another knockout game between Knoxville and Greenville. And here's Mark Doyle. Slips through to him again. Doyle can't get there in time. Seth Torman, the second string goalkeeper for the Greenville Triumph, quickly getting active in this affair.
Yeah, helped Greenville come out on top over Asheville in that last round via penalties. Rick Wright said he had a number of goalies come in during the offseason, trialing as the backup behind Gunther Rankenberg, and he said as he saw Seth Tolman practice, he said he pretty much had a good idea that he was going to be their man at the backup spot. He said he will get all the starts in the U.S. Open Cup. Obviously, that may depend on how far they get. Never got past the third round.
Yeah, both of these clubs very young in the grand scheme of the history of U.S. soccer. This being the 7th season for the Greenville Triumph. For one, Knoxville, this is their 3rd year as a professional club, their 4th year as a club in general. So you add that up, that's about 10 years in comparison to the 110 that this competition has. Doyle chips this one inside, headed outward, but not fully. Ajakwa had to smother that shot attempt. It's still on for Knoxville. Torman, and the whistle blows. Contact with the keeper.
As we thought we might see, Knoxville attacking this new Greenville backline immediately here in the first 2 minutes. It's a great clearance initially from Anthony Patti. Ajakwa didn't do a great job of getting it out of there. See Torman having to backpedal here as the cross is looped in. Oof, it's a close one. Looks like he almost got to the ball before Torman.
He did also go over top of another defender as well.
He did, yeah. Many referees.
Sliding challenge. Ref says fair play.
Oh my. I'm not sure if he got the ball there. That could have been a 3rd minute Dogso red card. You see that Jordan Skelton having a word with the referee already. He did look over to his assistant referee to see if he got a good look at it. I'm not sure if Paddy got the ball here. Well, maybe he did get his studs on the. He was waving him off.
That is awfully close. And
if he did get something on it, it was the bottom of his studs.
A gutsy challenge.
Greenville just trying to steady the ship here. Knoxville coming out with full attacking intent.
They're on the prowl once more. Now booted away. They could be on once more. This one stepped on. Zane Bubb clears it away. The minute management is vital at this point right now, according to Greenville head coach Rick Wright. They've really been studying the data, and they had to come to some conclusions, including resting their usual striker, Leo Castro. He's had a hard stretch as of late. And more so a gut decision, but Tyler Polak also finding the bench to get some rest, and then Brandon Fricke also trying to work back from a calf.
As Rick Wright said, though, the positive side of that is that you do get to see these players that you haven't seen a ton of yet. Open with 5 straight home games in USL League One play, trying to pick up points in those 5 games. Obviously didn't do that on Saturday. It's a very disappointing result against Spokane.
4-0 here at home against the reigning runners-up. That skips wide.
Yeah, obviously, different coaches approach this cup competitions in general different. We've obviously got 2 cup competitions this year. Again, for USL League One sides, obviously a minimum amount of games guaranteed in the Jägermeister Cup. Obviously nothing guaranteed in this competition past each individual game. Survive and advance. That's a nice ball. Did notice Zakowski on the right tonight to start, and Marsh on the left. We'll see if those two flip-flop at some point.
Has been a tendency for Greenville in years past to switch wingers throughout the match, give unique matchups between those players and the fullbacks on those ends. Meanwhile, for this Knoxville team, talking to the new man in charge there, Ian Fuller, stepping in and taking the reins of this program going into this season. I asked him how he's been balancing introducing new philosophy versus carrying on what's been built here, because there's a lot of returning players to this team this year, and they made the playoffs last season, and they have a very distinct defensive identity that they've carved out for themselves in their brief history in USL League One.
Yeah, Ian's Fuller obviously going to be smart and not going to change things too much with the defensive prowess of this team since their inception, no matter who the manager's been. Got the personnel there, just build around that.
Yeah, he actually mentioned this roster being part of the reason he took the job. He liked what he saw, and he liked what had been being built here at One Knoxville. I know a lot of coaches love the opportunity to maybe start something from scratch, but it's a lot easier to take over a program that's already in the process of growing as a club.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Mark, as long as you like what you see and you have players that play the style you want to play. Obviously, not many coaches going to want to come in and change the team style just because of what you've got out there. You want to bring in some of your personality as well.
He said, I get to come in and just make tweaks. He mentioned they want to be a little bit more intense on the attack, and he's pleased with how they've started in that regard this season, and I think he's got to be pretty pleased with how they've started in this game.
Yeah, Greenville settling things down here over the last couple of minutes. First two were helter-skelter.
Didn't quite have enough juice to reach the intended target of Kempis Tequila.
Zane Bubb on the ball here. Naturally a center back, but started at right back in that loss to Spokane on Saturday. DJ Benton coming in for the second time at least this season on the right side. Connor Evans can also play back there. He's getting a rest tonight as well, having been moved up to the midfield the last few games, and very effectively so for the rookie. Certainly been one of the real bright spots for Greenville so far in 2025. Obviously injuries not so much, especially in the middle of the park. Sebastian Velasquez remains out with a hamstring problem that's been lingering now for a number of months on and off. Pascal Corvino, he'll be out for a while with an ankle injury.
This one rolled up ahead by Jaheim Brown. Couldn't be kept in play for Greenville. So with the repetition of this matchup between these two sides in these tournament games, I think the prevailing sentiment for Greenville was, wow, we're playing these guys again? Are you kidding me? They're looking forward to it, though. They're pretty excited, and I think the big thing that Rick Wright was happy about when it came to playing these guys, less about that history and more so just the fact that we're far enough into the soccer season that there's tape on teams. You can actually go and look at their tendencies, what they're doing. They've got a couple of games under their belt. And that goes for, of course, Greenville as well on the opposite side when Knoxville scouts out the triumph.
Well, so many changes for Rick Wright tonight. I think Ian Fuller perhaps was a little unsure of how the triumph would perhaps set up. Obviously, you've seen Mensah and Marsh play together in Chattanooga, but not in Greenville very much yet. That's a lovely ball.
Slipping through, Zaracostas. Didn't quite cross the byline. DJ Benton able to knock it out before it would go for a corner. That ball from Mikhail Goling.
Yeah, lovely diagonal run. Pace on that ball was perfect.
Service flicked away.
DJ Benton with a nice save there, denying the corner kick. Big spot for him tonight, because that right back spot perhaps still pretty much wide open, I think, for Greenville. Evans started there, Benton played a bit. Bob started the last game. Certainly one of the spots plenty of people challenging for on this Greenville squad, along with the 10 spot. Tried Leo Castro there on Saturday, not to great effect. Rodrigo Robles getting the shot tonight. Perhaps his sort of chaos style of play will be good for that 10 role.
You mentioned DJ Benton, the guy who played for Knoxville. You could say maybe he's amped up to play in this game, but he's been a bit of a journeyman in USL League One. He's played for Knoxville, Chattanooga, North Texas, and North Carolina FC, all at the USL League One level. The visitors once again on the attack. Bub hands it to Lee, who boots it away.
Good poke away there by Jaheim Brown. You don't want to let Javon Marsh get going in open space. Came off the bench on Saturday as well. Played more of a central role. Effectively as well as Papa Mensah. Mensah just bringing a different look than Leo Castro. Right, a little bit about that as well. He's off that back shoulder, more and more pace for the over-the-top ball. Referee Pexler going to have a word with Mark Doyle here.
Words exchanged between these two. When I asked Ian Fuller about the excitement of the crew to play the Greenville Triumph, he said, honestly, we're a different team than last year, though sure a little payback is wanted, but the fact of the matter is it's a new year, new season. They're not going to spend too much time dwelling on the past.
See, DJ Benton wanted the ball there. Mark Doyle didn't want to give it to him. It resulted in a friendly shove, we'll say.
See the ball getting headed around there by one Knoxville. Hold that thought for a second as Zakowski feeds it forward. Knocked away by Jaheim Brown.
Good job defensively by the right back, this time covering for his center back partners. Came over from that fullback spot to knock that ball away.
Corner for the Triumph.
This result in a corner. Knoxville have scored on set pieces this year. They've also given up goals on set pieces.
They're a very tall unit, so certainly a bit of a challenge to score on, you would think. At least from the set piece department, though, as you mentioned, that's actually the only way they've been scored on so far this year. Zakowski, another service. No foul called there. Ball's poked up the pitch. Torment needed to get that one right.
So the first touch from Seth Torment. See Chapo Herrera apologizing for that high ball back to his keeper. Torment in the end just playing the safe route and knocking it out.
Yeah, I mean, that is a dangerous ball to play back to your goalkeeper, asking him to do very well with his feet in that occasion. Can't count that as a deflection. That was definitely an intentional pass back, and you got a striker chasing you down as well.
Seth Torment played his college soccer at UAB, where his mom, Stacy, is the strength and conditioning coach for men's soccer. That must have been a bit awkward at times. Also the director of athletic performance there, but yeah, comes from an athletic family. Golden Glove winner last year in Nisa.
That one not going very far for Callum Johnson. Though it does successfully earn a corner kick for one Knoxville. Yeah, Rick Wright said, I didn't think this Knoxville team could have gotten taller from last year, and yet they did. Mentioned that he got to watch Ian Fuller as a player when he played at Clemson, so somewhat of a homecoming here for Ian Fuller in that regard. Made sure to mention, compliment his coaching pedigree, Rick Wright did, about Ian Fuller. Torment got two hands on that one. Falls back in, volleyed shot! It's a bottle rocket for one Knoxville! They've been punching on that door for the first 14 minutes, and Stavros Zarakostas bangs it home.
It was a good punch by Torment. Didn't get a ton on it, but got it out of the danger area. And yeah, perhaps Siobhan Marsh should have just hooked that one away. Instead, tried to take a touch, and Zarakostas was there. Got the chest on it. That's a quality finish from the Greek.
His second year with One Knoxville, Stavros Zarakostas was playing in Greece before he made his way to Knoxville, Tennessee. And now he's got his first scored goal of the season in all competitions, of course.
In the 15th minute.
It was a fine finish through traffic as well. Seth Tolman, not sure how much he got to see of it. Siobhan Marsh looking to atone. Don't call it an error. He just was a little lackadaisical on it. Should have got it out of danger first time. Chance for Greenville to bounce right back.
You could say not an error, but a miscalculation.
Yeah, I think he thought he had more time than he actually did.
Corner kick for Greenville.
An early goal for One Knoxville. Greenville now at home and at the deficit. Bub got a piece of it.
It's very composed from a centre back. There's Zane Bub. Thought perhaps he would just knock it back in with his head, but going down and got a shot away. Speaking of getting away, here come Knoxville.
Breaking in the other direction. Ball sent in centrally, booted outward. Now the visitors will once again go on the push. Talking about this game going into today, Ian Fuller knew it was going to be a challenge. Ritchie floats it up. Now for another corner kick.
Smart there from Robles. Knew he had a man on, didn't want to take the risk, just nodded it out for the corner. Knoxville continuing to push here, looking for that second already. Not even at the 20-minute mark. We'll keep you abreast of any potential cup sets as well. Nothing brewing at the moment. So professional teams with 1-0 leads. Well, Chattanooga FC have just equalized in the Chattanooga. You told me not to call it Chattanooga derby, Mark. Some people might get offended by that.
Well,
we'll call it an East Tennessee derby. How about that? Although Knoxville might get offended by that. Southeast Tennessee, there we go.
I'm sure that One Knoxville FC is hoping both teams lose in that game. Yeah, but this is a One Knoxville team early on in the season. They're definitely getting battle tested, having to play on the road for a good opening stretch of this season. Ian Fuller mentioned that going up against this Greenville team was going to be a tough task, and that Spokane game was not a real indicator of the well-coached side that this Greenville team is. He said that Greenville knows what they're good at. But he felt pretty confident about what his boys could do, and they've proven it here early. They've been getting up to speed very quickly since the start of the season.
They obviously weren't sure when their new home of Covenant Health Park was going to be ready, so there's a reason for starting on the road. Be nice to, I won't call it their own stadium because they'll have to share it with baseball's team, Tennessee Smokies. Pretty cool to be back in downtown Knoxville for baseball and soccer.
So One Knoxville taking a lead in the first 15 minutes. And although it's not directly from a set piece, it is from the fallout of a set piece.
That's just an opportunistic strike. He beat the Greenville players to it. He just wanted a little more. Got a bit of a lucky bounce, but great finish by Zarakostas.
Hey, you miss the shots you don't take, so he let it fly. And every now and then, of course, in a game, you'll see a player rip their laces through a half bounce and it goes up into the rafters, but every now and then it connects, and
just reacted quickest to that one. Route 1 to goal. He did well to get it through that traffic, as we mentioned. There was a ton of it as a result of that corner.
Patty able to get that one back to Torment. Greenville still looking to settle into this match. Knoxville primarily enjoyed possession, at least in any meaningful way. Mark Doyle rolls it up ahead. 1-1 back by Zane Bubb. One of the new additions this year for the Greenville Triumph. Some pushing. I mean, the home side will keep possession.
Some focus for Rick Wright on the double pivot at the 6th tonight. He said that was one of the spots he was really disappointed in. And that loss to Spokane. Just seemed like every time they got the ball wide, crossed in and finished it, almost too easy at times, but the way they got into those positions.
In that game against Spokane, he said they had 4 to 5 little meltdowns, which resulted in 4 goals and a penalty, depending on if you wanted to count the penalty as being a meltdown. He said there were actually many good things to pull from that performance, but the fact of the matter is it was a 4-0 result, and they had some very honest conversations in the short time in between matches since then. The prevailing thought was, wait a minute, we're a better unit than this. That was the thought process for these Greenville players and staff. But they now find themselves once again down a goal.
I think it was one of those games. I think you'd rather get it out the way early. It's a marathon, not a sprint, as Rick said. USL League One.
Well, here in the U.S. Open Cup, it's always a sprint. You got to win every single game if you want to keep playing in it. And right now, one Knoxville up ahead. Last year saw their cup run end to this same Greenville team. The year before that, in their first trip, had an exciting game against Memphis.
Defeated on the road in US Open Cup play all time, although the other 2 wins did come against semi-professional League 2 sides. Westchester now with a 2-0 lead over New York Penn Cyprian. Certainly would have been one of the biggest cup sets of the day if that happened. Doesn't look like so far.
Yeah, I was about to say, you mentioned their 2 road wins being against League 2 sides, and maybe detracting from your road win stat line, but the fact of the matter is I mean, that's not a given. I mean, look, you watched Monterey Bay lose at home against a taco truck yesterday, the Burrito Boys.
Those that know, saw what they did last year, knows that that team is more of a pro than a semi-pro side for sure. Maybe part-time pros, but that team is stacked. Certainly some teams set up for some upsets in this tournament.
One Knoxville on the counterattack once again. It's released. Perfect timing! Counterattack 101 for one Knoxville. Mark Doyle gets on the score sheet for the 2nd straight game.
You can see here, lost by Robles. DJ Benton come all the way over from his right back spot, lost possession there, and you knew that Greenville were in trouble at this point. Everybody a little casual. Finally started putting the Jets on. Jackal was trying to get back. That's a nice first-time finish from Mark Doyle with the power past Seth Torment. 2-0 lead now for the visitors.
Mark Doyle coming over from the runners-up at the USL Championship level, Rhode Island. A key addition to this one Knoxville team this season. He scored in that last game on the road against Texoma. It was actually him and Kempis Tequila who scored in that game. They both scored a goal, and they assisted each other in that matchup. When I asked about maybe a connection between those two in particular. Ian Fuller said, well, one thing that those two have in common is they're both high-quality players, but the fact of the matter is, from the center midfielders to the wingers to the forwards, all of them can combine in the way that Tequila and Doyle combined in that game. I mean, we just saw a wonderful goal scored there. Great counterattack play.
Greenville now with, seems like going to be the longest 20 minutes for them to get to this break and try not to give up another one. Certainly haven't threatened down the other end much as of yet.
To confirm in the stats, Stavros Sarkostas now with a goal and an assist in this match, having put that one on a platter.
It's always the question on these transitions is when to pass the ball into the path of the guy, and he did a beautiful job there of just waiting till the perfect moment. Had the perfect weight on it as well. And a beautiful finish by Doyle.
25 minutes in, Knoxville have made their presence known here at Paladin Stadium.
Ouch. Hit Robles right in the face, I think, from short distance. Now what we got going on? Not sure exactly what happened there. We have a drop ball. Obviously no contested drop balls anymore, as the referee is telling Papa Mensa to get his 4 yards away. I think perhaps he stopped to check on Robles. That's a handball. Play advantage there.
That advantage doesn't last very long for Greenville. Marsh trying to dance around several defenders. Certainly has the talent, the ball at his feet. Yeah, that's going to be a foul.
Jack got a little lucky there. I think he was almost on his way down and got helped. He just needs to settle down here in these next 5 minutes, slow the pace down. They won the possession battle so far. They also did that on Saturday and lost 4-0. There's a chance.
Robles plays that one behind Marsh. Has to wind around to keep it in play, excuse me. Herrera chipping it up. Mensa was offside. Yeah, Ross, it feels like at this point in the game that Greenville, I mean, obviously you'd love to score a goal before going into the break, but like you mentioned already, it's almost a matter of just surviving till the 45-minute mark, because although they've had more possession, it certainly hasn't provided a ton of promise up to this point.
No, again, the middle of the park, just like it was on Saturday, the middle of the park just lacking in cohesion a little bit. Papa Mensa looking like a bit of a lone figure up top. All these changes, as much as you can practice during the week, obviously a short practice week with the game on Saturday. And now Wednesday, trying to get this new group working together as much as possible. It's going to take a little while to get used to each other and the runs you make. And this is what Rick Wright wants to use this cup game for. Let's see what he's got. Obviously, I think most people would expect Papa Mensa and Siobhan Marsh to be starting as much as they can. As much as he'd like them to, albeit as long as they can stay healthy. I know Siobhan Marsh has been dealing with a couple of minor ailments early in the season that have stopped him from getting more minutes. Certainly with the attacking resumes those two come in with, you'd expect them to be on the pitch as much as possible if Greenville are going to have some success this season. Although so they took care of Omaha here a couple of games ago and looked just fine. Things since then have been a little puzzling. Had the 0-0 draw against Asheville. See, that pitch wasn't conducive to quality soccer. Knoxville have got good here. As you mentioned, Mark, obviously with a pretty much full-strength lineup. With fresh legs in that lineup as well.
Yeah, the question coming into this one for Ian Fuller was more so about rust, as this shot rocketed towards goal.
See that Marsh and Zakowski switch now that we talked about.
Yeah, Marsh on the left, or excuse me, Zakowski on the left. Here's Robles.
Rick Wright said he was going to rest Ben Zakowski for this game, and Ben Zakowski came in and pleaded his case to start and won that case.
It's the most demonstrative he's seen Benzikowski away from the pitch.
Always very demonstrative on the pitch, that's for sure, as you see here. He's looking for a card. Got the decision, though. Just a clip on the heels of Chapo Herrera.
Very interesting. Ian Fuller highlighted the opening bits of this game as being the part that he felt his side was going to have to handle the most as they get back up to speed after a long break. And yet they were the ones that were shot out of a cannon from the first whistle. And now they have the scoreline to back it. Greenville find a response here. Sikowski rips it inside, made some contact. Out for a goal kick.
Looked initially like it came off a Greenville head, but Anthony Patti, so we can see here, come off the head of Jordan Skelton, I think that was. The referee says it's a goal kick. That's all that matters. Armamenta now going to put on a bit of a press. Obviously got off to a slow start this season due to visa issues, came in late right before the first game. I did mention the injury to Griffin Thomas as well. He's out for the year. A bit of a rough start for Greenville injury-wise. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw in USL League One play.
Injuries and a tight schedule, necessitating some roster rotation. Already touched base on a couple of these players. There's Anthony Patti. He's one of the guys who's stepping in, a good player, according to Rick Wright. And over there on the left-hand side, you've got Ivan Ajakwa, whom is a former standout at Furman University. Of course, he didn't play here. Furman have their own soccer pitch to play on. And he mentioned about Ajakwa in particular. The question going into the season is how would Ajakwa step up in the absence of the longtime man Tyler Polak? Rick Wright said, look, how am I going to know how he'd step into that situation without giving him the chance to, well, step in and have that opportunity? So an opportunity for him to show his quality in this game.
As every coach in League One needs. He's a jack of all trades, can play, but I think he came off the bench and played striker earlier this season. It's going to be a yellow card now just for a few offenses, I think, in general, on Chapo Herrera.
Look at Sievert Haugli, the towering holding midfielder.
To one Knoxville's number 3.
Standing at 6'5".
In the 33rd minute.
We saw Spokane kind of take care of Chapo Herrera in the middle of the park on Saturday. I think every coach knows that he is the real cog to this team, especially without Sebastian Velasquez in the middle. You can sort of neutralize Chapo Herrera. You can force Greenville to go wide. That's exactly what they had to do in Spokane, just not effectively. You can see Chapo there wanting the ball quickly. Greenville had that opening draw against Westchester. They're now up 3-0 against New York Penn Cypriot. I think the draw, I think, will be tomorrow. Mark, is that 1 p.m. on Galazo? I think I heard earlier today.
Sir.
So the winning team in this game will be in that draw. Nice touch there by Zakowski.
Ball taken early, floats over the crossbar. Be sure to tune into that. Joe Malfa and Jamie Watson will be the ones drawing the ballots there.
So it will be the 16 winners from this round will be joined by 16 remaining USL Championship teams that haven't entered. And then in the following round, we do get the MLS sides, 16 of them as well.
It's a very long climb up to the Open Cup mountaintop. Once those MLS teams get in, though, you start to see the pathway. The actual pool halves round to round, as opposed to it getting reloaded with even stronger, larger clubs.
Do know that 8 USL Championship teams are confirmed to be hosting. One of those is Charleston. We'll see perhaps if whoever wins this game could potentially take a visit to Charleston to face the Battery. Obviously, certainly one of the better USL Championship sides out there.
Patriots Point's a pretty cool place to...
Yeah, not too far for either of these squads. Always love when the visiting fans travel to these cup games. You know how much is on the line. A lot on the line here.
Callum Johnson will provide service. Knocked away, Robles carries it along, almost as if it were a lesson learned from earlier. Doyle drags this one back. Johnson feeds it inside. Doyle again. Service denied. Kind of a bit of a jump kick there from Benton. But the pressure continues to be applied. That's well worked. Haugley. A scuffled effort. Now gets booted away by Evan Lee. Papa Mensah giving chase, wins it back for the Greenville Triumph. This Knoxville team, coached by first-year man Ian Fuller, a guy who used to play not too far from here at Clemson. Sikowski, his service, nodded away. Got the chance, though, Ian Fuller, to reunite with some of his Clemson compatriots last night for some dinner. Some old colleagues, trainers, etc. Guys he hasn't been able to see for over a decade. That's another great thing about this Open Cup is you get the chance to go and travel around maybe a little bit more. Of course, Knoxville will be playing at Greenville this very next week. But you mentioned some of those hosting teams for the next round. An opportunity to maybe reconnect with some old friends, people that are still operating in the same business as you are. I know the soccer world's a small one, but that doesn't change the fact that these places are pretty far from each other, especially in the United States. Bub rolls it ahead. Good step. Mensah. Now Marsh. Takes it to the left. Ripping service. Goes untouched. Now Sikowski. Tapping out to Benton.
And the best bit of extended possession we've seen in the final third tonight from Greenville. Can they do anything with it?
Herrera, he's persistent. And now Doyle will release it in the other direction. Goaling. It's a good sliding effort from Zane Bubb. It's the crowd into it a little bit here. Knoxville up 2-0. On the road here against the Greenville Triumph. And if there's one thing that we've learned about this Knoxville team over these past 2 years, is that they are a tough nut to crack. They do not concede goals often. So a 2-0 advantage for them is awfully comfortable.
Listen, Jordan Skell, Stuart Ritchie, two great veteran presences at the back. And for that line for Ian Fuller.
Danny Fernandez, the center back pairing with Skelton. His 4th year with the club. He's been here for its entire history.
You know, we won't have a clean sheet tonight. Loudon, Virginia Dream have equalized. Smelling a cup set there, Mark. Early in the second half, though. 1-1. The dream is alive, or are alive, should I say.
I think both actually are applicable.
Yes.
Deflection falls to Zukowski.
Well, the 6:30 starts. They're a little bit ahead of us here in Greenville.
Well, the early start was between Portland Hearts of Maine, or Hearts as you might want to call them, a brand new side against Hartford Athletic.
Still waiting their first shot on target here. We're almost at the 40 minutes mark. So they come here.
Benton with the curling ball. Mensah couldn't connect with it. Now this one ripped inside. Saved by Gary Bay. Deflected over top.
Great strike by the rookie. Wide open at that back post. Showed composure, brought it down. He could have easily snatched at it. See Papa Mensah drawing in a double team here in the middle of the box, and he whiffed. Fell to a jack with good first touch. Well struck. Good save at the near post by Garibay.
Johan Garibay has been the starting goalie to start this season. Sean Lewis still working himself back to fitness. Two-time Golden Glove winner in USL League One. Zukowski has that corner knotted away.
And one thing Rick Wright may say to Ivan Ejakwa at halftime is, look, flash that one back across. Professional goalies, it is tough to beat them at their near post, even with well-struck shots like that. But flash that one back across, could have gone absolutely anywhere, including the back of the net. But good to get himself in that position, the left back.
So 40 minutes in. A goal on a half volley for Stavros Zarakostas, and then a counterattack. A well-released pass from Zarakostas connects with Mark Doyle, who hits it one time. Rodrigo Robles plays that one back. Marsh still going with it. As Chapo Barrera does so often, cleans up the mess and retains possession for Greenville. Service inside, falls over to Benton. That effort didn't have a lot of punch to it, and it lost its fire very quickly. Ejakwa putting himself in good position.
Great job by the big man. Rick Wright, earlier this season, talking about what an athlete Ivan Ejakwa is. He's big, he's quick. So turn on the jets there. His body in the right position. Sloppy there again. Middle third from Greenville.
Siobhan Marsh couldn't quite keep that one in play. Robles takes some contact, plays it out to Zukowski. Robles again. Knocked over, and it's a point to the spot. Greenville have been looking to turn the tides, and now they've been given a window of opportunity to do so.
Knoxville will be saying that Robles wasn't going anywhere. Why would I take him down? Take another look at it here. Under pressure from Callum Johnson. He did stick that right leg in there. Robles went down rather easily. Referee had a good view of it, though, and deemed it a spot kick.
There also might have been an arm on his back as well.
With that said, Callum Johnson don't be sticking that right leg out when Robles is going away from goal in the top corner of the box. Yeah. Looks like Ben Zukowski wants a shot at this PK.
Well, it's him and the captain, Evan Lee, both standing there. The mind games start to take place.
Remember Greenville's struggles from the penalty spot to begin last season. They got it figured out in the end, but obviously their penalty taker from last season, to finish the season, is the penalty taker Liam McKinnon, no longer in the league.
It'll be Ben Zukowski up against Johan Garibay. He got a clean sheet in that first Open Cup match against Appalachian FC. Zakowski denied. Gary Bay lunges in the right direction.
Relatively well struck by Zakowski. Bay just went the right way. That's a good save in the end. He actually talked to Rick Rack about penalties just in case this one went to penalties. And he said he'd rather his guys smash it, but if they aren't going to smash it, keep it on target.
Meanwhile, on the Johan Gary Bay side of things, Ian Fuller said he's been more than pleased with Gary Bay to start the season. He's been thrilled with how he's played. So we take a look at the foul again.
Yeah, Tequila just with a little hip check. Send the Greenville player on his way.
To complete that thought on Gary Bay, a player that they knew was going to be pushing for more starts this season. And of course, when Sean Lewis is missing time right now, he's definitely getting earned those looks, and he has done really well. And now he's got another notch to his belt here.
I love when players complain about the 10 yards when there's yard lines on the pitch. It's always fascinating to me.
We are into stoppage time here. Zakowski got bumped. Ref said fair play, and then he went down, put his hands on the ball.
The fourth official has indicated 2 minutes of stoppage.
So we're going to get 2 minutes added on here to close out the first half. 2 goals for one Knoxville, and then Greenville afforded an opportunity to cut into that deficit, but Johan Gary Bay doing very well from the penalty spot, or at least facing the penalty spot.
Sebastian Vasquez is the only other penalty taker this season for Greenville and scored. It's obviously not healthy tonight. Zakowski stepped up, unfortunately didn't convert. Evan Lee did take 1 penalty last season and missed it, as did Leo Castro. McKinnon and Jamie Smith were the only 2 that were 100% last season, and both of them are gone. Excuse me, they both missed 1, excuse me. Ryan McKinnon was 5 of 6, Jamie Smith 2 of 3. If that one had gone in, certainly may have changed the halftime talk a little bit.
Sure, one Knoxville fans will be very happy with the penalty save. It was actually a Ryan McKinnon penalty that put Greenville over Knoxville last season in the playoff meeting between the two sides. There's the whistle. One Knoxville have been very strong here in the first half, and they've denied Greenville the opportunity to get back into this one. 2-0 your scoreline after 45 plus. Let's see what these two teams have in store for us in the second half of action. With that in mind, we're going to step aside here on the broadcast on the YouTube channel. Let's take a moment just to look back at some of the highlight clips from this game. Of course, Knoxville with the bulk of them here. 2-0 your scoreline. We'll step aside now. We'll take a large break, and when we come back, we'll get the second half underway.
right, soccer fans, welcome to our halftime contest. Let's send it down to Matt to explain the rules and get things started for our center kick challenge.
I am down here with Lincoln, and he is going to be doing our center kick challenge. Super simple in theory. The goal is to kick the ball from the PK spot, not to the coned off area, but to the exact center of the field. If Lincoln does it, he will win a home kick. Y'all think he can do it? All right, Lincoln, you can get 3 tries. Take them whenever you want. It's all on you, buddy. First kick's always a practice kick. First kick's always a practice kick. You got this one. A little harder. Let's go. You got it. Oh, it looks good. It looks really good. Oh, a little left. All right, Lakin. It's your final try. You think you got it? You think you got it? All right. Give it your all. Let's go. Just a little left. Tell you what though, you may not have made it in the center, but what we have for you is we have a special little gift bag for you there with a magnet and a scarf in it. Everyone give it up for Lincoln!
Impressive in the first half for one. Knoxville up 2-0 against the Greenville Triumph here at Paladin Stadium. Mark Jones to Ross Davenport with you here on the US Soccer YouTube channel, streaming the second round of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. An Open Cup that the second round started yesterday, Ross. And Ross, yesterday was nuts. There were some wild games that took place here. I mean, feast your eyes on some of these. I mean, Tormenta were able to get the job done against 4-0 SC, but that one had a chaotic ending. Columbus Crew 2 dominant against Lexington. But obviously, the biggest of them all has got to be El Farolito getting the win on the road against Monterey Bay FC, a Monterey Bay team that has had a great start to the season, and yet couldn't beat the Burrito Boys.
The Flying Burrito Brothers flying into the next round. You mentioned Miami FC winning a game, Mark.
Their first of the season.
Against a professional side.
Against Inter Miami 2. Not to be confused with the first team. AB Alta also winning in extra time as we now take a look at the highlights from this one. And it's going to be primarily Knoxville highlights here because they really put on a show. In particular, Stavros Sarakostas with the half-volleyed effort. Puts it into the back of the net.
Good technique on that. He easily could have skied that over the bar, but he got his body over it and threw it. And 1-0 to the visitors.
And here he is again. He sees Doyle making the run, and then just a great one-timer.
He was almost a little behind him, but Doyle adjusted his run. Managed to get enough pace on it to beat Seth Torment. Perhaps might think he should have done a little better.
And then the penalty. The foul is called. But Gary Bay knocks it down, keeping the clean sheet on the day so far. 2-0 your scoreline. 1 Knoxville. Still holding that advantage going into the second 45 minutes. As we look at the stats here, I mean, Greenville have had more possession, but for the most part, it's been Knoxville who have had the meaningful possession in this game.
Yeah, you look at those stats at least the bottom 6 lines, you think it might have been Greenville up 2-0, but yeah, Knoxville, especially in those first 10 or 15 minutes, did so much dangerous work in that final third. Really could have scored more than a couple in those first 10 minutes. XG, Greenville 1.27, but obviously 2/3 of that from the penalty that was missed by Zukowski. We'll see what Rick Wright has in store for the home team in the second half and the adjustments he can make to get back into this game.
See some of those players still in their warm-up kits for the two sides. Saw Tyler Pollock just make his way off the pitch. He is on the bench and is able to come in as a sub should they choose to. Usually a starter over that left back spot, a longtime starter at that left back spot for Greenville. We're waiting for this game to get going once again. This is how the tournament itself is shaping up across the months and weeks, because obviously it's got to be interspersed within all the league competitions for all these different leagues, from USL League One all the way up to Major League Soccer. The next round, of course, for whoever wins this game will be April 15th or 16th. Now, who the winner of this game will play will be decided tomorrow at 1 p.m. on the Golazo Network. Joe Malfa and Jamie Watson will have that hat pull for you.
Yeah, so rounds every other week, basically for the next 3 rounds, and then we have those long breaks between round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal, final, but it is what it is. Obviously, as you mentioned, Mark, a lot of other cup competition to deal with, as well as the league competition. See Jägermeister Cup getting going soon as well.
Both of these sides looking to carve out a historic run in this tournament. Right now in USL League One, the flag wavers, the banner holders are Union Omaha, both of course in just their tally as League One champions, but also for how far they were able to make it a couple of years ago in the US Open Cup. And of course, Sacramento Republic making it 2 years ago all the way to the final, where they were bested by Orlando.
And what a run that was. Great to see the League One teams facing off more now against the USL Championship and the Jägermeister Cup as well.
There is a charm to the ability for a club to have the opportunity to punch up.
Connor Evans making his way into the huddle. A change there for Rick Wright at the break, at least one that we can see so far.
Substitution presented by Speaks for Greenville at the half.
So 2 changes for the Greenville Triumph. First off, you mentioned Connor Evans. He'll be subbing in for Ben Zakowski. So Ben Zakowski, although fought to get the start today, they still want to limit his time on the pitch just to 45 minutes. And then a big change. Anthony Patty subs out, the center back, for the veteran Brandon Fricke, who would usually be in that starting lineup, but of course, schedule congestion, picking up a knock, all factors that led to Fricke starting the game on the bench.
I thought we might see Siobhan Marsh go back to left wing, but it looks like Connor Evans is going to go straight in. They're not someone we've seen him play, certainly more of a natural right-sided player.
And with that substitution, the captain's armband goes from Evan Lee to the more typical Brandon Fricke. Of course, Evan Lee, a member of that veteran leadership group for this Greenville Triumph side. Well, it'll be the same 11 for Ian Fuller and his crew. And why would you make any changes unless you're foreseeing some tactical changes from this Greenville side?
And of course, Knoxville don't play this weekend in USL League One play. They won't play again until next Wednesday, as you mentioned, Mark, against these Triumph.
Pretty much same time, same place, same opponent. Getting away from Evans.
The rookie out of University of Portland, also played at Stanford. Very much a two-footed player, he said Rick Wright, so not surprised, maybe not surprised to see him on the left.
From Portland, Oregon, and also played, as he mentioned, the University of Portland. This one slipped through nicely. Robles bests the keeper, but the offside flag goes up.
It's a tight one. This perhaps should start his run a little early. Take a look at it here. Oof, I don't know about that. Janine Brown was almost on the same yard line as Robles. One positive about these football lines, as you mentioned earlier. 10 yards back from the free kick. It's a tight one.
He certainly stepped offside during the build-up there, but it looked like he had backtracked trying to get back to that border. It was going to be a close call. Greenville not dissuaded. Herrera out wide. Mensah taking a couple of gashes. Now serves it inside! Gary Bay makes the save. It bounced off the goal line. That one also looked awfully close.
Second half starting like the first, just going both ways now. My first look, it did not cross the line. I looked up to see where the assistant referee was, and he was right in position on the line.
Robles dispossessed.
Janine Brown down in the box, I think. Uh-oh.
Now he got some trouble away from the
problem
ball.
was that Greenville didn't stop playing when Brown was down earlier on this play. He got stepped on by Evans. Well, definitely didn't cross the line. And then watch what happens here at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, a shove from Robles, I think it was. Didn't look like it was in the face. Somebody making a bit of a meal of it. Not, obviously, no assistant referee, and it is a red card for Rodrigo Robles.
Robles being sent off. The second-year pro getting the look at that number 10 spot.
Well, interesting thing is, I was about to say there was that there's no assistant referee down this end, so I don't think referee Hexenar got a good look at it unless he went to his fourth official. I didn't think the shove was in the face. So we can take another look at it after the aftermath. It was the red card issued. Greenville's number 9 playing number 10. So now more trouble at that spot for Rick Wright.
So after Greenville had 2 close calls to score and bring this one back within 1, frustration boils over. And regardless of if it was to the face or not, it's rash behavior from Rodrigo Robles. He gets sent off. And this situation has spiraled downward for the home side. Knoxville in a very good position now. Up in personnel, up 2 goals. Zaracosta's service. And now a ricocheted effort. Ball's back into the 18. Torman able to finally boot that one out.
Yeah, perhaps we'll see Evan Lee push a little further forward now. The center back turned attacking midfielder.
This one need to be restarted from the proper position.
Let's take another look at this shove by Rodrigo Robles. Yeah, the shove was definitely in the chest. Player grabs his face. Referee buys what he's selling. Unfortunately, listen, the referee could determine that was a red card just because of the recklessness of the shove and the force behind it, but it certainly wasn't in the face.
I mean, like I said prior, I mean, regardless if it's in the face or not, it's rash from Rodrigo Robles. Nothing called there after Herrera pushed over Zaracostas.
Referee Pexonar's got to get control of this match. Things are getting a little heated, both from the fans, as you see a substitution coming from Knoxville, but both benches, you can hear the vocal level increasing on the microphones. Abel Caputo coming in. Knoxville.
Here in the second half, things have taken an edgier turn. Escorted out nicely. Jordan Skelton. Not too surprising from him, always been such a solid center back. So Haugley, who's on a yellow card, will sub out. And it's a pretty like-for-like substitution here. Abel Caputo stepping in at that number 6 spot. I mean, he's literally wearing the number 6 as well. The Venezuelan was last with actually one of Knoxville's big rivals, Lexington, but may make the jump up to USL Championship. Some players get trimmed off the roster after that. And Abel Caputo, certainly a capable player, got a lot of looks with Lexington last season. It's a chance to still kick it at the League One level and doesn't have to travel too far for his move.
Another late challenge. Free. Just having a word with the goal scorer and assist man Zaracostas.
Here's Zane Bubb. Rolling it up ahead. Not sure that was the intended target, but Mensah's on it. Marsh. Substitute, Connor Evans with the service inside. What a save! Still in the air, and it's in! The chaos persisted, and although down a man, Greenville are back within a goal.
Lovely ball in from Connor Evans, who's certainly made a difference since coming on. This ball had pace. and direction. It's just a great first touch by Siobhan Marsh. Another great save by, two great saves by Garibay. Eventually, Rapapa Benson just does it in from about a half-inch out. He won't care how he scores his first Greenville goal. Count the same, and same game on, Mark.
Greenville have had a couple of things break in the wrong direction here in the second half. A couple of near calls. It could have been a first goal. And then that frustration results in Rodrigo Robles making a bad decision post-play, gets sent off. Yeah, here we are. I'll be curious to see how Knoxville now responds, because perhaps some complacency could have kicked in after being up 2 goals and then being up a man. Receive a little bit of a wake-up call. Marsh and Rapapa Mensah, 2 former players for the Chattanooga Red Wolves, who are acquired by the Greenville Triumph here in this offseason. 2 primary efforts on that play. Of course, Garibay making some saves. I think Stuart Ritchie also got a leg in there to keep it from going in, but persistence is key. Sarah Costas.
Rick Wright will be certainly happy the way his team's responded since the red card.
Knoxville's objective now at this point is to take a little bit of the sting out of this game. It's been a very tumultuous opening 11 minutes in the second half.
I don't see a ton of tactical changes from Rick Wright since the red. Evans and Marsh certainly having to pinch in sort of a play at dual 10 now. Greenville may lose a bit of width because of that.
It's gonna result in certain players having to step up and make some big plays in the individual front. Especially with some of those after collision theatrics. Well, it doesn't seem like the refs. Well, maybe now the card's being pulled out. There it is. Chapa Herrera goes into the books.
I think referee Pex and I had to give that one just to send a statement. Chapa telling him to get up. You're the one that put him there, mate.
There's certainly been an edge to this one here in the second half now. And obviously the events that have transpired have only caused it to stack on itself, and the intensity is continuing to dial up. Transition, maybe the best opportunities Greenville are going to have going forward now before Knoxville can get back and set defensively. Sarah Costas.
Looks like the Virginia Dream is officially over. Mark 4-2 Loudon now in the waning seconds there. Portland Hearts of Pine Dream still alive though, 0-0. Approaching extra time there in Maine. The Chattanooga, the Southeast Tennessee Derby still 1-1.
How about that turn from Goling? But Brandon Fricke is right there. And no matter how many juggle attempts that Goling tried to make happen.
It's a good physical battle there. Brandon Fricke, not an easy man to go through or around.
Sarah Costas. He's been bright in this game. Brown with a jab, now fires.
See, Brown as a fullback popping up at the penalty spot. Shows you the confidence Knoxville have going forward. Or perhaps the lack of confidence in the Greenville attack, even though they've just given up the goal. So you got some late games tonight as well. Tacoma against Spokane. Washington Derby there after this one, 10 o'clock Eastern. Ventura County against El Paso, and then 8:30 we've got that Midwest battle, Des Moines Menace against Union Omaha.
That should be fun.
Should be very interesting. Starts in about 8 minutes.
So one Knoxville up 2-1 here. Their 2 first-half goals, putting them in a good spot. And they might be trying to create something new here, but deflects out. It'll be a corner kick. These set pieces been a bit of a talking point for this one Knoxville team early in the season, conceding twice from set pieces in their opener against Spokane. They didn't want to overemphasize fixing that, but they did make some tweaks, and then they were able to score 3 from set pieces in their Open Cup opener against Appalachia FC. They made the changes, didn't put too much emphasis on it. And on the year, Ian Fuller said, we want to be on the positive when it comes to set piece goals. So they've conceded 2 and scored 3, so they're back in the positive on that front. Torment punches that one away.
That was a better punch than the one that led to the first goal.
Zara Costas deciding to let it fly. You have the right to give him the keys a little bit in this game.
He's pressed on this right side, Zara Costas. Obviously looking for more minutes with this side. That one wasn't far over Seth Tolman's goal.
Torman, as you talked about a little bit in the first half, half a dozen players who came in on trial for that goalkeeping spot on the Greenville side. And Rick Wright just got the feeling that he was the guy when he came in. Mentioned the challenge for him this season is to push Gunther Rankenberger, who's the starting goalkeeper, to win the Golden Glove this season, because then at that point, Gunther probably goes to see bigger clubs, larger leagues, and then it's Tormund's spot to take.
Rankenberg obviously had a bit of a rough outing on Saturday against Spokane, but clearly coming in as the #1 this season, like last season when he was sharing time with Christian Garner.
Zara Costas. Couldn't get that one by Ajakwa, but then it does go off of the defender. Corner kick for the visitors.
He's played well tonight. Ivan Ajakwa has had his hands full with Zara Costas on this side. Showing off his quick feet there. Zara Costas looked like he had him beat there for a second. Ajakwa with the big lunge. Make the initial stop, then just poking it out for the corner. Which Knoxville will wisely take their time with. League One teams. Another also in action for Madison, down 2-0 at the half. Home against FC Tulsa. Mentioned Westchester, they're rolling. About a half hour to go there. FC Naples continuing their great start to their history. 2-0 at the half against Little Rock Rangers.
Pulled off one of the big cup sets in the first round.
The problem with some of these semi-pro / amateur sides is once you have to travel and people have to work the next day and can't be taking the same squad, and they were missing at least their goalie from that first round win. There's confirmation of that final score in the Virginia Derby, the USL Championship side. Moving on.
Thank you, fans, and as a reminder, alcohol sales will
So as you said, the dream ending there. So it's now official in that game between Hearts and Hartford. 0-0 after 90, so they've got 30 more minutes on the docket there. These games are anything like the games yesterday.
That was a strange decision. Zane Bob had position, Taking a look at this one, Zayn Bob didn't move. Knoxville player just ran into him. But Knoxville get the call.
Free kick for the visitors is the decision from Island Pexenar.
So he's had a mixed performance tonight, our referee. Not one way or the other, just mixed in general, I think.
Driven ball inside, brought down, and into the arms of Tormund.
There's a good chance there. Tormund in the right place, though. The header put right at him.
Jacquot. Evans gets knocked over by Brown.
Right, asking, well, challenge from behind. Pexon is going to have a word with the Greenville coach, I think.
His second year in charge. So far from his second year with the Greenville Triumph, having been the assistant for John Harkes up to that point.
So Chapa Herrera there. Knoxville are about to make 3 changes. Chapa with the yellow already. Maybe inclined to pull him off at some point. You see Carlos Anguiano on the bench. Be a like-for-like sub in the middle of the park there. I expect we'll see that at some point. As here come these Knoxville subs. Babacar D.
So I got the 3 substitutions for you here. Kempis Tequila is out for, as you mentioned, Babacar Dien. Then it's the end of the night for whom may have had the best performance so far, Stavros Arakostas. A goal and an assist in is Nico Rosamilia. And then lastly, the other goal scorer for Knoxville, Mark Doyle subs out and Giovanni Calixtro subs in. So reloading on the attacking front for Ian Fuller.
Mark Doyle in the 67th minute.
Curling ball headed down, falls to Marsh. Siobhan Marsh picked the bottom left corner, but it drifts on the other side of the post.
Free kick, not a great headed clearance. Siobhan Marsh on the volley, just couldn't put it on target. Greenville continuing to throw everything at us, as they should. No matter whether you lose 3-1 or 2-1. Trying to find this equalizer. Half of this second half remaining.
Scoreline aside, Ross, you would say at this point in the game, Knoxville have had the better of the match.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because they certainly haven't had the edge in possession, but they've looked by, I would say, until the last 10 to 15 minutes, by far the more dangerous team in the final third.
The reason I asked that question is because then it brings in the great debate of XG, because at this point in the match, Greenville have very much the advantage in that regard. 2.57 to just 0.8 for Knoxville.
Even if you take the penalty off that, it's still double Knoxville's XG. Some Garabays come up big. Right, this game could certainly be 2-2.
Brown sends it inside, squared ball, no one's there. Second effort, nowhere to go. A dangerous opportunity for Knoxville. Goes to the wayside.
Ian Fuller is certainly far from comfortable at the moment. You wouldn't know Greenville were down to 10 men with the way they've been playing since that red card. Sometimes when you lose that extra man, it makes you work a little harder. You know you've got to work a little harder. We've seen Greenville had some success in years past when they've been down to 10 men.
Yeah, USL League One in general has a weird history with teams being shorthanded on the pitch. The fact that there is even a catalog of games within the USL League One history that can display teams that went down a man and were able to come back and win games that they were losing.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable. I know Union Omaha's got a couple of those themselves. I think they're probably the masters of it. The third division.
The question for Rick Wright is here. Quick turnaround with the game against Charlotte on Saturday, who had an extra day's rest. They played yesterday in the Cup. They did go 120 minutes. But the way this game is balanced, I think you have to try and give it all you got here. Not a ton of depth on the bench, obviously, with the injury situations at the moment, especially in midfield, but Greenville's got to give it a go here. Mensa is apparently onside, despite the protests of the Knoxville players. Kept it in as well.
Greenville trying to slowly move their positioning down the pitch now after that long ball to Mensa. Mentioned already, certainly a different look he gives than Leo Castro. It's even a different look than Greenville have had for a hot minute. Mensa, a player who really prefers having the ball coming over the top to him. Even with Golden Boot winner Ryan McKinnon last year, that wasn't really the objective that they were looking for when connecting to their famed goal scorer.
You mentioned Castro is on the bench tonight. Certainly, perhaps you'd have to think he's capable of 15 to 20 minutes, even with how much he's played of late, but you've got to consider extra time as well. You bring him on too early in the second half, and then he's got to go an extra 30 minutes. Let's see if we see him on the pitch alongside Rapapa Mensa. Jacko goes down, no foul, there's Evan Lee.
Lee sends it in, headed along. Now Siobhan Marsh, 1-on-2. Ultimately does well for himself there, earns a corner kick.
Greenville with 4 shots on target in the second half to Knoxville's 1. He played most of this half without Ricardo Robles.
It'll be Connor Evans on the service. Ball trickling around. And one Knoxville are able to boot this one away. No one down the field to receive it. But they get it out of harm's way, one way or another. Contact there from the rookie.
Wasn't a ton of contact there, though. Knoxville player. Slight bump.
That's a nice ball over top. Can it be kept in play? It is still in play, and now the whistle blows. It's a corner kick. Late decision there.
Yeah, good work from DJ Benton. Close the gap here. He's a good 2 or 3 yards behind. Took a good angle, good body work. I'm sure if that one went out from this, we don't have the best angle. So I'll give the assistant referee the benefit of the doubt, even though he's looking through two posts.
Stuart Ritchie against DJ Benton on that occasion. Out of the woods for Greenville. This one falls down nicely. Rosamelia tried to pick the left corner. Lofted ball up top, still in the air. Well, that'll do the trick for Greenville. for this one Knoxville side. From day one, the objective was to be difficult to beat. Ian Fullers felt they've been doing that, and now they want to have more quality with the ball at their feet. So positionally, it's taken a little bit more time to develop that side of the game, but they spend a lot of their time off the ball in training, so the fact that that portion has developed a little bit slower is not as surprising. Goes to show you where they put their emphasis, and it's on that not getting scored on frequently identity. The other question he asked is, can we retain the ball when we need to? I mean, the formula from this past year for Knoxville was, I mean, they far and away were the best team defensively in USL League One, and the question was, could they up in the goal scoring category? Been able to find the back of the net more than once in every single match they played in so far, so it's positive in that regard. And tonight's the first night they've conceded a goal in open play. Had back-to-back clean sheets between their Open Cup game and then on the road against Texoma.
Credit to this Greenville backline tonight. They've only allowed 3 shots on goal, and 2 of them went in. So they've never played together in a real match as a group. Just 4.
Mensah slipping it through. Here's Marsh. Javon Marsh. Back to Mensah. Short-handed Greenville trying to unlock something here.
Continuing to get involved.
Evans, nice find inside for Lee. Well contained. Defensive efforts from Knoxville prevent that opportunity, but Greenville earned themselves a corner kick.
Really a riot getting behind their boys. Lovely ball in. Bit of a heavy first touch from Lee. Unfortunately went to his weaker left foot. Did well in the end though from the ground to earn a corner kick.
Evans with the service. Over everybody. Distance effort. Over top.
Chance from long distance. So Garabay watching that sail over his bar. So he can take his time. Now we do have a Knoxville player down at the edge of the box.
Just to revisit this conversation, Greenville triumph now 3.19 in expected goals to Knoxville's 0.9.
Rick Wright has to be super proud of how his team's performed in the second half here. Ian Fuller, on the other hand, a little concerned with these 12 minutes to go because his team has been second best in this second half despite being up a man.
Well, we're no longer the only game with an uneven amount of players on the pitch, Ross. It appears Azad Liadi has been sent off for Portland Hearts of Pine in extra time against Hartford.
Oops, not the time to get sent off.
And now in comes Leo Castro. Siobhan Marsh will take leave.
See a 2-striker setup here. Castro can't play 10 role. He tried it on Saturday, but more of a false 9, perhaps behind the complement. So maybe go alongside. We'll see here. So they may just go straight alongside each other to provide more of a headache for this Knoxville backline. So, short-handed Triumph looking for the equalizer. Throwing everything at it here with Castro in.
Bringing in the big guns. And here is Castro. Certainly not as nimble as Rapapa Mensah, but the savvy striker brings with him loads of experience And already loads of goals in this jersey. Not properly cleared here. Evans. Trying to find an avenue. Jacqua plays it back up. Now Fricky trying to drill that one in. Now, Ross, if you told me that Greenville were down a man right now, or if you told me that it was even, I would have believed you, because it has not looked like they've been lacking a player.
Up 2-0 with the extra man. Knoxville, you'd think they'd been playing for that dagger third, but they really haven't.
Lee floating it upward, and that's a difficult header, but well executed.
Mensa got away with one there. I think he clattered into the Knoxville player.
Stuart Ritchie with your face towards goal. Got to get enough under it. You're even lunging for that header in the first place. Does really well to make sure that doesn't go against his own frame. Bub puts it in the mixer. It's still on the fray. And out for another corner.
Trying to settle dangerously there for Papa Mensa. I think he may have ended up getting a shot away. Taking a look at it here. This was headed by Bub was good. Yeah. Mensa had a chance 5 yards out, just couldn't connect.
Herrera. Gets it back. Chapa Herrera couldn't curl that one inside. A little hug between him and Danny Fernandez after the fact.
Nice little 1-2 with him and a Jacqua.
Knoxville just hanging on in this one. Up a goal, up a man. He looked so dominant for the first about 35 to 40 minutes of this game. That one not kept in play by Evan Lee.
It's been a gutsy second half performance by the home team. Will it come to nothing? Well, if they can't find this equalizer.
Couldn't get that one right. I already mentioned it. A game against the Charlotte Independents, who have advanced to the third round of the US Open Cup yesterday. They'll play them on Saturday, and then these two teams meet up again next Wednesday. Certainly with some of the testiness in this one, Ross, it makes that game have a little bit of intrigue to it.
So back in the old League One days when you played teams 4 times.
No, it's certainly not kept in play. Player down for one Knoxville.
Well, the Greenville players are saying, why are we, he's off the pitch. Why do we need to stop? You can be attended to without stopping the game. Let's see who it is over there.
With that head of hair, it's probably Mikel Goling.
See, the Greenville players making their point felt. Now we're going to restart. Puzzling decision, not the first one of the night from referee Pexonar.
I mean, the argument would be, and here he comes. Well, certainly wasn't anything too serious, but the argument would be that you need to notify the training staff that he needs help, but that shouldn't take but a second. Lee, still in. And it's once again cleared away.
Shouts a handball from the Reedy River Riot. Nothing from Evan Lee, though, and he was much closer.
Herrera, ref says play on.
Careful, Chapa. Oh, boy.
Looks like he's going to get away with it here. Nico Rosamelia goes down.
Some questions of a foul there. Referee said no. And watch Chapa Herrera here. He said he only had one thing on his mind. Not something you do with a yellow card normally. Chapa just going to get a verbal here from referee Pexenot. So we have another substitution coming in.
Substitution for 1 Knoxville. Entering number 5, Scott McLeod. Exiting number 17.
So Mikael Goling, after getting hurt, will sub out of the match, and Scott McLeod will sub in. Goling, a midfielder, McLeod, member of that back line. He played in that game against Appalachia FC. So out comes Goling. The rookie who was impressed in his first year. Ian Fuller said that he hasn't taken a step wrong since he stepped foot in Knoxville. He's been very impressed with how Goling has performed so far. Knoxville, after being able to hold down the fort for an extended period of time there, looking for a moment maybe they could have the ball once again. And again, you are all seeing the same graphic we're seeing. Greenville is down a player, and yet the play on the pitch would suggest the opposite, if anything. Knoxville basically just been barricading the doors and just trying to hang on tight for the rest of this match in regulation.
Certainly, no matter what the result of this game is, plenty of positives for Rick Wright to take from the performance of his team here in the second half. Came out with a much improved attitude. Moving the ball quicker. So he got the goal, now they need a second one.
Connor Evans with the service. Well, for the visitors, it's going to be a mixed bag if this result holds the way it is. Obviously, you're happy to make it through. But certainly some concerns you're going to have to harbor over this next week. Now, I guess the nice thing for 1 Knoxville is that you get a chance to run it back a week from now to see exactly what kind of tweaks and changes you need to make.
And certainly with the fact that they put out pretty much a full-strength lineup. Well, Greenville didn't.
Looping ball reaches Gary Bay. That's about where that track ends.
Yeah, Greenville players just not quite anticipating where that header was going to go. Any kind of flick, and Gary Bay would have been in trouble. Remember, the 8-second rule with the goalkeeper isn't in play till next season. Greenville, Reedy River Riot fans just reminding the referee how many seconds Garibay was holding on to it for, but I'm glad that rule is hopefully going to be enforced next season because it's been getting a little out of hand over the years.
Yeah, I think I've seen it enforced maybe a handful of times. I think probably can count on one hand how many times I've seen an official actually make a point as the card has gone out.
Who did he give it to? Did he give it to the trainer? Oh, he gave it to somebody who's sitting in front of the hoardings. He brought out the red card as well, Mark. Now, the only player that could have been is Sievert Haugland. That's exactly who it is. My, oh my.
Well, that will make Haugland unavailable for the next match. Round 3 of the U.S. Open Cup, of course.
Ah, see, that's how.
Wow.
silly, silly boy. Knocking it over the hoardings, time wasting. That's the second yellow, and his night was already technically over, and now it is officially over. One of the sillier red cards we've ever seen in USL League One.
Yeah, that's definitely a new one. So Haugland is done, obviously, already, but now he's done for the next round.
7 minutes of stoppage time here. Can Knoxville somehow find their way to tie this game?
It has been a very interesting second half, to say the least.
There's still plenty of leg running in those legs. Nice communication there between Castro and Evans.
Knoxville scoring 2 goals in the first 25 minutes, looking like all the better side in every facet. And they even deny Greenville a chance at hope in the first half, saving a penalty. And then Greenville came out guns blazing here in the second half, but in the flurry of chances, Rodrigo Robles gets himself sent off. Gain one back, and they've been the one on the foot since then. Nothing else, been valiant from Greenville. One Knoxville might try to put out the fire here.
Somebody dead on the far side? Yep. Greenville player. DJ Benton, perhaps?
And that's exactly who it is.
Going the distance tonight, DJ Benton at that right back spot. To force his way into the starting lineup. Certainly has given Rick Wright some food for thought heading into Saturday. Connor Evans available as well as Zane Bubb to fill in that right back spot. Nate Schultz spent most of last year there and retired this offseason.
Two spots in that back line up for grabs going into this year with the exits of Jamie Smith and Nate Schultz. Rosamelia in the corner. Great ball up the line, Mensah. Once again, a late whistle there from Island Pexenar. It'll be Knoxville ball as we hit the halfway mark in these added 7 minutes. Might eke a little over that due to some of that stoppage with DJ Benton going down.
Goal in extra time from Hartford Athletic. Portland now down 1-0 with 10 minutes to go there. One side seeking a late goal. New York Pan Cyprian have pulled to within 3-2 mark.
Wow. Oh my goodness. A hammer in the nail. The coffin is closed. One Knoxville. with a final laugh here in added time.
Yeah, the Greenville defenders were waiting for Seth Torman to come for it. See here the long ball, looking for Babukar Dien. Some tired legs out there from Zain Bab. Brandon Fricky cut across him. Torman didn't come for it, unfortunately. A recipe for disaster. That one puts this game away and Knoxville into the third round.
Back-to-back Open Cup games where Babukar Dien has scored a goal. So now 2 total in the competition. And 1 Knoxville in what was certainly a shaky second half. Have now put this one away. Certainly a bizarre game of footy has taken place here tonight.
Yeah, second half has been exactly that. I mean, the second win over Greenville all time for Knoxville.
A little bit of payback for those 2 knockout losses last year for Knoxville. They'll be the ones knocking out the Greenville Triumph here. They may be out for one more.
The Knoxville bench yelling corner. You are up 2 goals. You get a little more leeway to try and find another one. Not that it would matter.
And this isn't a situation where goal differential makes a difference.
The Jägermeister cut, but obviously.
Right.
In this one, as you mentioned, Mark, a valiant second half effort from the Triumph. Unfortunately, just not enough in this one. Knoxville seem to limp their way to the third round because they certainly weren't impressive in this second half. Despite being up a man and 2 goals.
Yeah, I think the appraisal of this game for Greenville is going to be very high highs and pretty low lows. For Knoxville, it's going to be more of a mixed bag of how to disseminate the information you've gained from this game. It's been very bizarre, especially from their perspective. Castro has that one squeak through. Fricky playing all the way up. An odd matchup here between Greenville and 1 Knoxville, but it's the visitors who are moving on to the 3rd round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. 3-1 your final score.
Certainly a game of 2 halves. Greenville found themselves down 2-0 at the break, but played themselves right back into it in the second 45, despite being a man down, and probably feel a little hard done by with the final scoreline.
So Ian Fuller's crew, you in particular, and the Scruffs back home watching, heavily recommend you tune in to the pool tomorrow at 1 p.m. on the Golazo Network as they draw to see whom your next opponent is, along with everybody else. But that's a look ahead. Let's take a look back at the highlights from the 90 minutes here, starting off with, of course, a great goal from Zarkostas.
Yeah, just a failed clearance by Siobhan Marsh and a lovely little follow through. Kept his head down, kept his foot down, and followed through. Powered that one past Seth Torman, and then on the transition, J. Benton with an ill-advised slide. Left Greenville short-handed going the other way. Zarkostas this time the provider for Mark Doyle.
Yeah, great one-timer, rips it by Seth Torman. Gives 1 Knoxville a 2-0 lead, and at that point, things are looking very peachy for 1 Knoxville, and then a penalty's awarded, but Gary Bay's got them covered. Everything's seemingly going right for 1 Knoxville in the first half, even if Greenville has a couple of statistical edges possession-wise, and then bad goes to worse for the Greenville Triumph, go down a man, and yet after that point, It was almost all Greenville. They get this goal here, and it's a messy one, but they all count the same on the score sheet.
Yeah, at that point, Greenville were in the ascendancy, despite being the man down. This one, obviously, as you said, Mark put the nail in the coffin. Good work in the end by DN, who stuck with it, split the two defenders, and just wanted a little more.
Babacar DN putting it away for Knoxville, and that's where it stands. And I mean, look at these stats. This game was interesting.
Certainly a fun cup contest. Unfortunately, the run comes to the end for Greenville, but Knoxville. Moving on, as you mentioned, Mark, we'll see who they get in the draw tomorrow. You can tune over to Chattanooga, playing Chattanooga. That game's in extra time right now, just started there. So Portland Hearts of Pine trying to get back into their game against Hartford. Yeah, disappointing night for Greenville, but some positives to take from that second half performance for sure.
A lot of good games still going here in the U.S. Open Cup, so be sure to switch over to one of those other live streams. If you found this one, you could certainly find those. But for this broadcast, for Ross Davenport, my name is Mark Schoenstert. We appreciate you tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and we'll see you next time. Your final score, Knoxville 3, Greenville 1.